that long, but I guess it's because I'm not actually going into what each of these books is about. Should I be going into what these books are about? Anyways, hey, hi, hello team, my name is Monique. This is Bookwitch Reviews, where I review books and summarize books quite badly usually, which you will see evidence of in this video. If you have followed along in the last couple of weeks and months, we are all still in lockdown, majorly in the UK, which means that I do nothing but sit at home and shop. Except for July, because I am in a book buying band, and you will see why. Because this is my lockdown haul. Just a quick disclaimer, I do not think that you should buy books if you do not have the money for it. Please do not feel like if you are a booktuber, you have to have 700 shelves behind you full of books. You can also have empty shelves or ebooks or audiobooks. And I have many of those as well, but I finally have a place that I can call my own, and I have enough money to buy books, and I like pouring money into what I actually like, which is authors, and I like supporting them. So I like buying books. I also get them from the library. I also get a lot of them from charity bookshops. So this book haul is over 16 weeks, which is 16, 12. It's more than 4 months. So I have been in lockdown since March. Many days, okay? And I went on a little bit of a book buying spree. So this U-Haul book haul, U-Haul? Is U-Hauling when you get rid of stuff? I don't know. So in this book haul, we are going to split it into 3 pieces. So we have gifts that have been sent to me, we have books that I have found in secondhand bookshops, and we have books that I have bought with my own money, of which there are many. I am not going to go into summary of each and every book because I believe there are more than 50 here, and I have also been sent e-arcs by publishers, but we're going to do that in another video. So let's just jump right into it. Okay, there's a lot here. Yes. Let's start with gifts. This is my little stack of gifts that I have been sent or given or stuff. So let's just go right through it quite quickly, because otherwise we will be here all day, and although already I can feel like this video is going to be long. So we have The Black Flamingo by Dean Atta, which was sent to me by my good friend. What? By my good friend Jack. This is a queer coming of age story by a black author about a black and white teen who does not feel like he is queer enough. It is beautiful, it is in verse, and I adore this. It's also contemporary, which is out of the norm for me. Then we have The House with Chicken Legs by Sophie Anderson and of Ash by Tasha Suri, which are both books that I was sent because I took part in the A Random Act of Kindness on Twitter. These were sent by Moon, whose Twitter handle I am going to leave down below. And then luckily enough, I was also sent The Empire of Sand, which is the first book in the books of Amber. I was sent Empire of Sand and The God of Prayer by Gareth Henna. And I was sent these by the beautiful Justine from I Should Read That, who I'm also going to link down below. The Empire of Sand and its sequel are both inspired by medieval India. It is magic, it is desert. I have only read Empire of Sand so far, but I am very excited to read Welmer Vash, which I believe I will love dearly. And The God's Prayer is a book that Justine speaks very highly of, and I just really want to read it. It's supposed to be really weird and wonderful, and I am excited. I can't tell you what these are. There's something about people who are like candles. Evil is stirring. Okay. Next up is 2 books that I was given by my cute ass girlfriend because she's adorable. One of them is The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon, which is the first in its series. I adore Samantha Shannon, and my girlfriend knows, and she's adorable. This book I have already read, which is stunning. It is set in our own world where clairvoyancy basically is the norm, but it is also illegal. So we have Skyon, which is like the evil upper class, and then we have Paige Mahoney, who is our main character, who can see things, and this is very particular brand of clairvoyant. And I'm very excited to read the rest of this series because her little novella, which is the 3.5 book. I believe there's 2 books after this one, The Song Rising and The Mime Order, and then she's just come out with another novella because The Mask Falling is coming out next year. Yes. And then my girlfriend got me Demon Voices by Philip Pullman, which is his essays on storytelling, and I just love this edition. It's like weird hardcover thing, and it's just yes, I love this. Okay, so books that I have been gifted. Now we are going to move over to books that I got from secondhand bookshops. You will most likely have seen these already in some of my vlogs because I am vlogging throughout lockdown. So we have the first 5 books in the Mortal Instruments series by Cassandra Clare, which is urban fantasy, shadow hunters, demons and vampires and stuff and incest. Well, yeah, I'd read it because I like hype, okay? Then we also have the, what's it called again? The Infernal Devices trilogy, which is also by Cassandra Clare, which I believe is more like historical urban fantasy. We're like in London, many, I don't know, like a few generations before the Mortal Instruments. So I like hype. So I also picked up the, what's it called? The Traitor Spy trilogy by Trudi Canavan, which is like a sequel trilogy to The Black Magicians, which is a series that I love dearly. It is fantasy, it is funny, we follow a strong female magician, and I love her, and these are supposedly set right... Ooh, please just a second. What are you doing? These are supposedly set after the final book of The Black Magician, and I am just very excited about reading these. And yes, all of these are very cheap. Okay, next up, I picked up Whole Metal Girls by Emily Skrutsky, who's one of my favorite authors. This is sci-fi, queerness, cyborgs. Yes? I believe it's a girl who basically allows herself to become a cyborg to pay for her family's safety. Possibly. Then next we have Con Eagleton's Wolf of the Plains, which is a historical fiction book about Genghis Khan, which I read years and years and years ago because I used to be somewhat into more historical fiction. Con Eagleton is the man that I would be like, if people want to read historical fiction, he is the guy that you should start with. He's written books about Genghis Khan, he's written books about Julius Caesar. So historical fiction, Genghis Khan. I picked it up because I loved this when I was younger, but I also vividly remember that there's Raven here, I think. Yeah, so bad stuff. Genghis Khan. And then I found this stunning edition of Queenie by Candice Carty-Williams, which I believe has been linked to being a sort of like Bridget Jones Diary sort of esque thing, which I'm not super into, but supposedly this is written absolutely stunningly, and I am trying to sort of expand my horizon and less just fantasy. But she's a journalist, so yeah, but I'm very excited. Also, this is just so pretty and pastel-y. And last but not least, we have Lyrial by Garth Nix, which is the second book in the Sabriel series, and I don't even have the first book of these, but this is just such a funky hardcover, okay? I used to love this series. I'm gonna have to find it again, but this is just so funky. This is just like such a fat little hardback, and I just, yeah, no, this series is just, it's funny. The next bits are all books that I have bought myself, but one part of them are books that I have pre-ordered, so they were not actually money that I spent in lockdown. But let's just run with it. First off, we have Bonds of Brass by Emily Skrutsky, which is a sci-fi, beautiful, queer male romance with a evil empire and heirs and secret heirs and just, oh, here's heirs. This book is short and packs a punch, and I love it so much. Next up, we got Aurora Burning by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff, which is the sequel to Aurora Rising, which is another sci-fi book with a like misfit team of ragtag crew and humor and funky stuff and evil that is coming. And this is the Illumicrate edition, and it's blue, and Cal is stunning. Next up, we have another sequel. This is Ruthless Guards by Emily A. Duncan, which is the sequel to Wicked Saints. This is a Russian-inspired fantasy with monsters and boys that are monsters and blood and moths. And I can't explain to you what this is about, but the first book is basically a girl who is a cleric who speaks to the gods, and that is where her magic comes from. And her country is at war with this other country which is trying to like wipe them out and telling them that gods do not exist, and it's just beautiful, and this is just so good, and I cannot wait for the third book. And I had also bought myself the tour edition of Crescent City by Sarah J Maas, which is her urban fantasy adult debut, which follows a half fae, half human girl in this city where there are every type of supernatural being that you can think of. And in this book, she loses someone very close to her very early on in the book. And then we jump forward, I think 3 years, maybe 4, and murders start happening again. And she gets dragged into this murder investigation with an angel who is also hot. This is just so beautiful. I can't with this book, team. Next up, we got some books that I got in book boxes, which were also sort of pre-order babies. So first up, we got the Owl Crate edition of Bone Crier's Moon by Catherine Purdy, which is a book about these bone criers. Yes, funky. Good job at words, Monique. Which is a book about these women who ferry the dead across a certain river. But to do so, you have to kill your one true love, and this book is just stunning, and they're called bone criers. So yes, I also can't with these edges. I am still annoyed about how loose this thingy is, so I need to like set that correctly, but the shine is real. Next up, we got Havenfall by Sarah Holland, which is a sort of like portal magic book. It's very short, very cute. This is the Illumicrate edition. It is about a girl who wants to inherit an inn which has doors to other worlds, specifically 2, and then there's like an almost murder mysteries type deal going on. Next up, we have the Fairy Loot edition of Girl Serpent Fawn by Melissa Bashardoust, which is a queer Persian-inspired fairy tale, which I think is vaguely a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, or maybe Sleeping Beauty. I'm not entirely sure. Basically, we have a girl who is poisonous to the touch. And this book is just very, very beautiful rep-wise. Also, the writing is stunning. And this edition is just so beautiful. I can't look at these pastel bits. And then my most recent book box haul, which is Court of Miracles by Kester Grant, which is a fantasy, I think, book set in the 1800 Paris with this criminal underworld, and it's vaguely a retelling of Les Miserables, I think, but I can't with this cover. Okay, we got some more pre-orders. We got Forest of Souls by Laura M. Lee, which I believe is about a girl who accidentally brings her best friend back from the dead, and then she sort of gets drawn into this net of becoming like a protector of this forbidden forest. That might be wrong, but look at this stunning. I only just got this today. I'm very excited. We also have The Henna Wars by Adiba Jagida, which is a contemporary queer young adult story about these 2 girls who end up being rivals because they both have henna businesses, and one of them is a Muslim queer girl, the other one is a black girl. And this cover, I'll never be over it. And then we have A Song of Wrath and Ruin by Roseanne A. Brown, which is a West African inspired fantasy with enemies to lovers, and I believe a crown princess who wants her mother back, and a refugee boy who sets out to kill her because he wants his sister back from this demon. I'm not entirely sure, I haven't read it yet, but I'm very pumped about it. This stack is just gonna get bigger. And now we are into the part of the video where you can just see me spending money to spend money. This is my tiny paperback edition of The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon, because this is one of my favorite books from last year. It is my actually favorite book of 2019. This is a book about queendoms and dragons and the balance of the worlds. You are following several different characters, including a assassin magician, a queen. We are following a young man who's also a poet. We are following an old alchemist, and we are following a dragon rider. And this is just one of the best books you'll ever read. Take me on it. Please read it. Also, look at this teeny tiny paperback edition. It's so cute, and you can punch someone with it if they're homophobic or misogynistic or racist. It works for all of them. The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill, which is a middle grade story about a girl who gets magical powers because this small village continuously leaves a baby out for this witch. And then the witch turns out to be good, and she feeds the babies moonlight, like starlight normally, and this time she feeds the baby moonlight, and there's magic and things ensue and a tiny dragon. And it was a very cute little read that I read for Believathon, which How to Train Your Gavin holds, which is why I actually got quite a few middle grade books, because I wanted to. Next up, we have Elysium Girls by Kate Pentecost, which is a book about a wager. Is that how you say that? About a wager between life and death, where a city gets the possibility to like create its own utopia, and we follow a queer girl and a magician. I guess it's like a daemon, which is like not an evil demon person, but they get to be like part of this game, and we're basically in a race to like let everyone live. It was a bit of an odd read, but honestly this cover is just stunning, and I'm super excited to read anything else that Kate Pentecost come out with, because this is a debut. Next up is The Girl Who Speaks a Bear by Sophie Anderson, which is another middle grade book. I read her House with Chicken Legs, which I did not actually tell you that much about, but which was stunning. The Girl Who Speaks Bear, I believe, is a girl who grew up in a bear cave. Basically, it's a find yourself like middle grade, and I'm super pumped to read it because it's just so cute. Then we also have 13 Treasures by Michelle Harrison, who wrote A Pinch of Magic. This is about a girl, I believe, who goes to live at her grandmother's house, and then she pokes around in the past, and there's some fairy stuff, I think. Oh yeah, she can see fairies. Very excited. Next up, we have The Throne of Jade and Black Powder War, which is the second and third book in the Tamara series by Naomi Novik, which is a historical fantasy book which is set during the Napoleon War, but with dragons. I'm super excited to read both of these. I'm very slowly gathering the entire series, and I wanted them all in this one, and then I got sent this one, and I was annoyed, but I can't find it in the white one, so we're just gonna have to live. I am not even done yet. Next up, we have a beautiful collection of Black Girl Magic short stories, which is called Phoenix First Must Burn, edited by Patrice Cadwell. I'm just very excited to read this, and also I can with this cover. So yes, all of these short stories are, across a series of genres. So I believe we have fantasy, we have magical realism, I think there's sci-fi in here, and it's all featuring Black Girl Magic, and I'm just very excited about it. Ooh. Next up, we got Dread Nation by Justina Ireland, which I'm super pumped to read. This is a zombie apocalyptic novel. It is supposedly about a girl who has been trained to be like a protector for the upper class from zombies. And I'm just excited. There's supposed to be queer rep in here. It's just so beautiful. I might read this today, actually. That might be what we're doing. Next up, we have The Name of All Things by Jen Lyons, which is the second book in A Chorus of Dragons, where the first book is The Ruin of Kings. This is a deep dive high fantasy about an ancient evil, and I cannot explain to you what this book is. I just know that it's beautiful and amazing, and I allowed myself to buy the second book because I was given the arc to the third book, A Memory of Souls by the publishers, and I'm very excited to read it, so I need to read this, and I'm just very pumped. It's also absolutely massive, and you have to really pay attention because it's real intense. Next up, we have The Bells by Daniel Clayton, which is a book about how much you are willing to pay for beauty. I think it's very YA. I basically have just heard amazing things, and Samantha Shannon have said several times that she really loved this, and since I love Samantha Shannon, I really want to give it a try. I do not like this cover though, just pointing it out. Next up, we have Test of the Road by Rachel Hartman, which is a book about a princess who refuses to follow her own faith, and then she begins walking down this road. She cuts all of her hair off. I believe she meets a dragon, possibly a group of misfits. I love this cover so much. It's just so beautiful. Underneath it though, that's where you really look at this pastel. A team, like almost the things. Next up, we have The Bone Ships by R.J. Barker, which is another high fantasy. It, I believe, involves pirates and then these giant ships which are made out of the bones of dragons. Justine from I Should Read That really recommends this one as well, and I'm really excited about reading, and I'm just going to read it like now. Okay, next up is another book out of my regular genre. This is My Sister the Serial Killer by Onyeka Braithwaite. Basically, it is a story about a woman who continuously has to help her sister because her sister keeps killing men, and it's longlisted for several prizes. It's supposed to be wonderful. It's also really short and sweet, so I'm hoping to read that quite quickly. And also, it's funky. I really like this green. Okay, like it's intense green, but it's... Next up, we have Good Luck Girls by Charlotte Nicole Davis, which is about these girls who are branded from birth, basically, to be a certain type of girl. I believe they have to like fight for like a certain kingdom, and they're trying to break out of it. I've heard amazing things about this one. Also, I just really love this cover. Also really love the hardcover of it. It's just stunning. Second to last is The Edge of the Abyss by Emily Skrotsky, which is the second book to this one. Don't ask me why I have this weird little fucking edition. This is a queer fantasy. No, it's not really fantasy. This is a dystopia. Yeah, this is a queer dystopian duology where we follow a girl who basically comes from a long line of people who've basically been raising these sea monsters since the entire world is now underwater, and she gets captured to be on this pirate ship and gets forced into raising this like sea monster to be on their terms. And this duology is just stunning, and I highly recommend it. There are a lot of her books in this thing. Basically, I love her. She's so good. And last but not least, we have a hardcover edition of Tamara Pierce's Battle Magic, which is one of my favorite books of all time. This is a book that follows Briar, who is from her Circle of Magic series in Emmeland. We follow Briar and his teacher Rosenthorn and his student Ivy as they go out to this specific world, like country that is at war. It's just so good and heartfelt, and it breaks my heart every time I think of it, and I just want to read it again all the time. And also, I cannot, with this hardcover, why can't I get them all like this? Look at it, it's so beautiful. Forgot a book that I got today. This is Upon a Burning Throne by Ashok K. Banker, which I've heard amazing things from Starlah Reads, who I'm going to link down below, who I've only just started following, and she's delightful and reads a ton of fantasy. And this book is an Indian-inspired high fantasy about the fate of a country, and we have basically these two princesses who are both heirs to the throne, and to like inherit this like kingdom you basically have to go through a trial by sitting on this burning throne, and then out from the outside of the like left comes another heir who wants to sit on the throne, and it's supposedly amazing and wonderful, and I only just got this book today, so yeah boy. That's it. Thank you so much for following along on all of that. I hope you all enjoyed this very intense haul video. So I have somehow gathered 58 books over the course of 16 weeks in lockdown, not counting the 15 books that I have probably, I think it's 15 that I have gathered from Net Gallery, which are ARCs. And yes, there are many here. Please do not think that I am a crazy person, and even if you do, then that's okay too. I believe that I slightly am. This is all I spend money on though, so I feel good about it. This is just who I am. So If you did enjoy this is my first haul video, please hit that thumbs up button. It looks like this. It brings me happiness. And leave a comment down below and tell me roughly how many books you have gathered in lockdown or even just this week, because it will make me feel less alone. Also hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and click that little bell next to it, which will give you a notification whenever I put a new video up. I hope you guys enjoyed this today. It took me way longer than I would have liked to, but you know, had fun, stared at all my beautiful books. I love them a lot. So take care of yourself. I will be back with another video real soon. Please check out any links to my other social media if you would like to follow me on those down below. And then if you would like to see me gather these books, I have a playlist of my vlogs where you can basically see me get them. So take care of yourself. I will see you guys real soon. I love you. I'm proud of you. You are doing great. Goodbye. This thing is gonna fall on me. Please don't. A chorus of dragons. Blah 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 blah. Fuck you, Monique.